So today's show is the full follow-up episode as promised to the True Talk episode, AI separating the hype from the headlines. So one thing people know is that panic sells. It's going to drive clicks, it's going to drive likes and shares in a way that truth just does not do. So what they do is they play on that fact, knowing that truth doesn't trend the way a lie will. All they're doing is fear-mongering, and then they're dressing that up as journalism. Because everywhere you look, on the news, in a group chat, Reddit, Discord, and even on the blogs, someone is preaching the same gospel that AI is coming for you. But in this episode, I am going to give you the facts that AI, especially in its current state, could never replace you. It's unstable, lacks accountability, has sky-high error rates, and its complete absence of understanding could never. So what we'll do is we'll break down what today's LLMs and generative models actually do well versus where they fail at the most basic tasks. And then you'll start to see we're really more like 20-ish years away from actual AGI level intelligence. And well, ASI level intelligence, that's just a theory that may never even happen. We'll also be discussing the trillions of dollars companies like Amazon, OpenAI, and Microsoft are pouring into AI infrastructure, how governments are scrambling to regulate it, what it means for your life and your work, the ethical, the spiritual questions, and finally, how you can find your lane in this space. Every single generation faces a disruption. First, PCs in the 80s, then it was internet in the 90s, social media in the 2000s, and now it's artificial intelligence that's driving what psychologists call technological anxiety in 2025. And trust me when I say that humanity is no closer to being replaced by AI than it was 10 years ago. Just like it wasn't replaced, wiped out, or overshadowed by the technological advancements that came before it. Because the only thing one technological advancement can replace is the last technological advancement that came before it. So there's a lot of talk about not liking AI and even hating it in some cases. But it's not AI in and of itself that should give you pause. What you need to be aware of are the key players who are rushing in to control AI's infrastructure. Because once you understand who's running the game and why, you'll know how to play it and not get played. So what we have to do is we have to follow the money because I want you to see what's really going on and why. And I want you to understand that no matter your disdain for artificial intelligence, it's a movement that cannot and will not be stopped. But if we educate ourselves on what's happening around us, we can work together to create AI systems ethically that are used in the right ways because AI will be one of the most beneficial innovations our world has ever seen. In 2024, Microsoft announced a $100 billion investment into its new AI data centers. Amazon has pledged $150 billion over the next decade. And Google, $75 billion and counting. OpenAI, the creator of ChatGPT, is planning to raise as much as $500 billion to $7 trillion for global AI infrastructure, energy, and chip manufacturing over the next 10 years. So why are all of the largest companies in the world racing towards AI advancement? Why are they pouring more money into it more than anything they've ever built before? Why are they spending more money on AI infrastructure than what they've ever spent to build out their own original empires? It's because they know that whoever owns the infrastructure, and I mean the full and complete AI stack, that person controls the intelligence, and whoever controls the intelligence controls the future economy. I want to make this very plain for you so you understand it. Because I know there are people right now saying, well, I just won't use AI. And that's where you're 1,000% wrong because you're using it right now and you have been using it in your everyday life for years, whether you knew it or not. If you're using ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, you're already contributing to the ecosystem because Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, they own over 70% of the global data center capacity that run these apps. Store files in the cloud like Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, or iCloud. Well, you're currently funding AI expansion every month you pay to store music, documents, and photos because those items live on their servers. Even the apps you use every day quietly back up to a data center owned by either Microsoft, Google, or Amazon. Do you have a Netflix, a Spotify, TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube subscription? I am sorry to tell you, but all of these companies host their content and run their algorithms through Amazon, Microsoft, or Google's cloud servers, which means you're ultimately funding their expansion projects in AI. Do you own a business that uses Shopify, Squarespace, or Canva? They all rent server space from Amazon and Google too. Even banks, hospitals, and your doctor's office digitally store their files on one of these companies' cloud systems, and soon every app, every website or digital tool you use will integrate an AI chatbot, assistant, or recommendation, and every click you make and recommendation you take becomes a microtransaction that flows right back up to big tech in support of AI. You don't have to buy into AI to fund it. All you have to do is use an app, run a business, shop online, digitally store your pictures, have a streaming subscription, keep your money in a bank, or go to the doctor, and you too are buying into AI. You may not see the invoice for it, but you're funding it, whether you like it or not. Tech companies know this and they bank on it. And that's why they're racing to control the landscape, because whichever company ends up with the controlling stake of AI's infrastructure, they can and they will charge every other company, government, and individual person rent to use their systems. So what is big tech's goal? They want to own the data centers that run AI. They want to own the energy grids that power it. They want to own the servers that store its information. They want to own and manufacture the chips that train and run the models, and they want to own the models themselves. That way, all of the money flows through them to them. That is economic dominance. Honey, that is a power at a level we've never seen before. Now, I know you're thinking, I thought this was supposed to make me feel better about AI. And trust me, I get it. But stay with me because this is where we're about to shift gears. AI in its current state still falls super short of what tech companies want you to believe it can do. It is extremely unreliable. It is forgetful, inconsistent, and it can't truly reason. And please don't catch it in a lie. It will not admit it up front until you force it to admit the truth. Instead, it deflects, and it's going to try to make you think you're the crazy one. It literally has some of the same characteristics as a 16-year-old. So we're about to get into all of that and more, but I needed you to understand why the biggest tech companies in the world are investing so aggressively into AI. One of the biggest reasons AI couldn't replace anything right now is because it still can't follow through. It struggles with context, memory, and instruction. If you ask it to remember what you said 2 hours ago, it probably forgot it. People love to talk about how advanced AI is, but even the most sophisticated systems have their limits. It misinterprets nuance, it produces confident nonsense with ease, and it hallucinates facts, meaning it generates content that is factually incorrect and even unsupported by the training data it was fed. Hallucination alone is acknowledged as an ongoing technical challenge by developers. That's exactly why generative systems like ChatGPT have that little disclaimer at the bottom, because it's prone to deliver incorrect information. And guys, that's not a moral failure. It's a design limitation. These systems don't understand, they predict. They fill in the gaps like an improv actor. They don't think, they autocomplete. They rely on statistical guesses, not comprehension or lived experiences. And chatbots like ChatGPT, well, they're only trained up until a certain date. So if you ask it about information that's happened outside of that date, chances are it may not even know what you're talking about. And of course, it will deliver you inaccurate information. So that's why OpenAI, Google DeepMind, and Anthropic acknowledge that large language models have unstable reasoning and factual reliability issues. They're powerful, yes, but they're also brittle. They can analyze patterns at scale, yet they still can miss the mark completely. And that is why AI is only as good as the humans that program it and the data it's fed. In music and film, AI is already being used. It's handling things like layering harmonies, simulating instruments, and mixing tracks. And in film, it handles those tedious tasks like editing and color correction. But it's the artists and the producers who handle the vision, the emotion, giving the cultural context, setting the direction of the story, telling the story, improvisation, and performance energy. Even writers are using AI to help with their research, to help with tone and refine rough drafts. But ultimately, the writer themselves decides on the message, how it's delivered, and the emotional heartbeat of their work. A visual artist can sketch one concept and use AI to create 50 plus generations of it. Yet and still, the designer is the one who chooses and refines what they want to see come to life. In medicine, doctors can use AI to scan x-rays and detect anomalies even faster, but it is them who diagnoses, treats, and consoles the patient as only a human can. AI can even draft contracts and review thousands of legal documents in hours, but the lawyer steps in to interpret nuance, ethics, and argue with empathy before a judge. Entrepreneurs can use AI to analyze markets. They can automate tasks and model pricing while freeing themselves to focus on vision, leadership, and the building of relationships. AI can translate languages in real time, breaking barriers between human connection. A Korean grandmother could video chat her Brazilian granddaughter, both of them speaking their native tongues, but both of them fully understanding one another. AI tutors can adapt to a student's pace. A child struggling with math gets extra practice while another can race ahead. And even in mental health, AI chatbots can provide comfort at midnight when no one else is awake. They don't replace therapists, they just bridge the gap until you're ready to sit in the room and connect on a human level. So I want us to start at home with the United States, where the goal here is to move fast, you build big, and you don't worry about red tape slowing you down. The new America's AI Action Plan, it centers on innovation, not regulation. Executive Order 14179 literally tells agencies to remove barriers to AI development. Translation: the U.S. is betting that speed and market dominance matter much more than guardrails. But even inside that freedom-first approach, there are pockets of protection, like the Take It Down Act, which is the first federal law to target deepfakes, and it makes it illegal to post AI-generated intimate images without consent. And states are starting to step up too. Nearly every state has passed deepfake or voice protection laws, from Tennessee's Elvis Act, which treats your voice as your property, to California's New Frontier model bills pushing for safer innovation. Now, when you cross the Atlantic, you'll find a very different philosophy. The European Union's AI Act is the first full-scale law treating AI like a living system that needs constant supervision. Europe's approach is all about risk. High-risk systems, the ones that hire people, grade students, approve loans, or police the streets, they have to meet strict safety, bias testing, and human oversight standards. Generative models, the kind that create voices, images, or deepfakes, they must clearly label AI content because in Europe, if it's AI, it has to say so. Europe even banned certain uses altogether, like emotion tracking at work or social credit style scoring. Oh, but then there's China, where AI doesn't just serve users, it serves the state. Their regulations sound technical, but they translate to one goal: control. All generative AI systems must reflect core socialist values and avoid anything that could destabilize society. That means that every algorithm that recommends a post, paints a picture, or writes a line of text must align with approved narratives. Developers even have to register their algorithms in a national database. 3 philosophies, 3 different goals. America says accelerate, Europe says regulate, China says dominate. For the first time in human history, we have created something that can interpret but not feel. It can sort of mimic human intelligence, but it doesn't understand it. Scientists call this the hard problem of consciousness. We can scan the brain, trace neurons, and map the logic behind memory, but we still can't explain why we experience anything at all. Why a sunset makes us cry. Why a song from 10 years ago can pull us right back to the person we used to be. AI can process patterns, but it doesn't wake up in the morning and wonder why it exists. As systems get more autonomous, the accountability question gets louder. Tools can make decisions. Only humans can make moral ones. The conscience behind the keyboard still matters the most. The danger isn't that AI becomes a god, it's that we treat it like one. When innovation outruns introspection, people are reduced to material for use. Because of that, we must make sure that we keep technology in service to human dignity. Tech should reflect human creativity, not replace it. The more we automate, the more intentional we have to be about what we empower. If you look back at history, every major shift that scared people, from factory automation to social media, created more work, not less. New roles, new industries, new people who said, okay, let me figure this out. Let me figure out how this works. Right now, there are multiple lanes of opportunities. Creators and storytellers use AI to storyboard, to iterate visuals, to draft ideas. Builders and people who just like to tinker, you don't need a degree. Learn how to prompt, learn no-code automation and data basics. For teachers and translators, explain tools to schools, churches, businesses, because empathy scales. Strategists and founders, automate support, personalize your marketing, build smarter. And for ethicists and guardians, let's fight bias, let's shape policy and protect people's rights because we need your voice. And the good news is, again, you don't have to go back to school. The internet is now your classroom. There is no real authority on AI right now. It's kind of like the wild, wild west. Make yourself the authority. Where to learn? Coursera, edX, Deep Learning AI, Google AI, Microsoft Learn, AWS Skill Builder, Khan Academy, CS50, and of course, YouTube University. Pick a course, start small, stay consistent, but start now. Don't do everything, do one thing really well, and then ask, what do I already do that AI could amplify? Go deep, not wide. Learn one tool until you can teach it. Visibility builds credibility. AI can do a lot of things, but it cannot be you. Please don't try to compete with it. Collaborate with it. Let it make your processes faster so that you can make your purpose louder. I want to thank you so much for spending this time with me. If today's discussion spoke to you, drop your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear your side of it too. And if you're the type who loves digging into receipts, all the research and footnotes I use for today's episode are linked in the YouTube description. So if you want to dive deeper or fact check me, it's all right there for you. Do not keep this episode to yourself. Share it with your group chat, your best friend, or that one person you know who needs to hear it. Make sure you are following me everywhere on TikTok and Instagram, all under Let's Talk Kira, and on Patreon under Let's Talk Kira, which is where the real talk continues between episodes. Remember to love yourself, protect your peace, and do not just talk about it. Let's live it. Until next time, I'm Kira. This is Let's Talk Kira, and I'll see you in the next episode. It's a good night.